Morning, Les.
Good morning, Dr. Hanscom.
You're just not going to beat me to the punch this week. That's all there is to it.
That's right. I was trying to swallow my coffee while you were speaking.
It's supposed to go down your esophagus, not your windpipe. I just want to be clear on that.
Just to be clear, very good.
So we're going to jump right into a really challenging topic, and we're going to solve the world's relationship problems today. We're just going to do that.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so don't just take a deep breath. Okay, so here's the deal. Chronic pain damages relationships badly. One of the driving forces for me personally is watching the effect of chronic pain on the family unit, which is pretty devastating. And instead of being a source of peace, love, and joy, you're not so happy a lot of the time. And I don't blame you. I mean, I went through the same experience myself. When you're in pain, it's hard to reach out and be aware of other people's needs. Yet awareness and vulnerability is the essence of relationships. So then we have sort of the popular version of love, which is feeling in love, falling in love, doing anything for this other person.
Mhm.
And so that's what we think love is, but it's not. It's just a positive transference. So Les is going to describe what real love actually is. But I just want to contrast this with what we call romantic love, which I think is important in a relationship. But there's nothing about it that's going to last because you're just projecting the best part of you onto that person. And it's in you and it's a real projection, but that's not the other person. That is the best part of you being projected to them. We call it positive transference. It's sort of deadly because you get hooked together, it lasts for a year or two. And then I'll just be blunt here. The incidence of domestic physical violence in the United States right now is 28% for men and 32% for women. That's stunning. We know that ACE score, average childhood experiences, is an ACE score of 0 in only 30% of families. So as family units, especially when you're in pain, it's a pretty chaotic world to live in. And so we mentioned this before that awareness, which is the essence of relationships, and anger cannot exist in the same room. So positive transfers doesn't last. And would you be talking to your partner or spouse or kids on the first date like you are 4 years later? Honestly, think about that. What if you love this family of yours, why would you ever treat them unkindly ever? Because they're precious. They mean a lot to you. So Les, you had a great definition of what love actually is.
Yeah. So, and this is in relationships, love, that is, to be clear, is there's a theory called Sternberg's theory out of Stanford University, and it involves three factors to maintain a healthy relationship, like a marriage, for example, or partnership. Think of IPC. So think of a triangle, and one of the angles of the triangle has to have intimacy. And intimacy is basically when you can actually be honest, like you're being kind of a butthead, or what was that? What was that for? And well, the person apologizes and says, well, it's because you keep repeating this. So there's a dialogue. So intimacy is when you're able to go honestly and share how you're really feeling. So intimacy is not the sexual part or the physical part. So intimacy is one factor to maintain a healthy love relationship. Two, the P part is, so IP, intimacy. P is passion. Passion is the touching, the feeling. When I was growing up, I'd see my dad, my mom. My dad would walk in the kitchen and rub my mom's back. So, so that was a form of passion where there was physical touch and holding of hands. So that's passion. The other part is commitment. I'll do a quick review after this. Commitment is basically I'm yours, you're mine. So we belong in this relationship. So intimacy, passion, and commitment are required. Here's what happens after about 20 years plus, or maybe I should say the 7-year itch, which is there's some truth.
I think it happens a lot faster than that, Les. But
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so. And they've studied something called the 7-year itch. And so maybe sooner, right. So what happens is when relationships, like I'm going to just choose marriage or long-term relationships, when intimacy and passion, again, intimacy is being genuine, just talking deeply about your true feelings versus suppressing them and banging pots and yelling at each other. When intimacy and passion are out the door, all you have is commitment, and that's called roommates. That's called empty love, according to Sternberg's theory. Empty love is basically you're just roommates. And so what happens is that's when there's very little communication, things just don't feel good.
Well, we're going to talk tomorrow about negative transference, which is incredibly powerful because when somebody irritates you, what we don't understand, and to me, it's still hard for me to understand this, is that if you piss me off, it has nothing to do with you. You just trigger something in me. And remember, the deeper your relationship, the deeper the triggers. So you have the intimacy and passion. You start labeling the other person. It's like a reverse magnet that pushes things apart. And then again, love is commitment, intimacy, and passion. I think that's a great definition of it for it. And of course, a lot of times marriages fall apart because somebody runs off with another partner. Well, quote, this new partner is again another positive transference thing that feels much more powerful than what you have. But I mean, honestly, you have people that depend on you, and you may not feel like being that committed to them on a given day or even a given week or year sometimes. But if you don't, but intimacy and passion are a nurtured, learned tool.
Yes.
That's
Yeah.
the key issue. It doesn't just happen. You have to be aware of its necessity. And again, go back to chronic pain. When you're in chronic pain, it's hard to do that.
Yeah.
But it's a catch-22 because as you do that, actually you change your body's chemistry and pain starts to resolve. So then your family becomes a support system where you feel safe, but more importantly, they feel safe. So when they feel safe, you begin to feel safe. So that long-term commitment, learn intimacy, continuing the passion is really critical for long-term healing, both for you and your family.
David, I wanted to say something here to tie it into chronic pain and chronic conditions folks may have, chronic medical conditions. When we don't feel safe at home, it actually impacts our immune system, our nervous system.
Right.
And you're wondering why you are hurting all over and nothing is feeling good. It's like being in a war zone, or especially because when we don't feel, and this is, I like things in three. So when we don't feel connected and loved by that person, like, why do they keep doing this? Why are they so rude to me? Why are they so inconsiderate? Why are they so reactive? It's because, as you said, often it's not, the other person is activating something inside of us. And often, I just want to get really clear when we talk about it another time, is that often we feel betrayed, abandoned, and rejected. Betrayed, abandoned, and rejected will activate old memories and flooding. So when someone is rude to you, we feel rejected, and it'll flood us with memories. And this is why it's really important to be able to say, as that behavior is not helpful, have a dialogue about it. David, what are your thoughts about that?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the bottom line is this is a very deep topic and critically important to really understand romantic love versus true love and commitment. I really had not heard that three pillars again, which was intimacy, passion, and commitment.
You
I
got
think
it,
it's a
Dan.
wonderful thing. And so we're talking about, I'm going to read this tomorrow again about our envy of others devours us most of all. It's by Solzhenitsyn, and he just has a really powerful statement at the end of the day is that no matter what you do, no matter how angry you are, just don't speak to your family unkindly.
Yes.
Just period. Just zip it. Get the heck out of the room. Get out of the house.
Yeah.
You know, you've heard my saying 1,000 times, no action and reaction.
Yeah.
Because when you're triggered, you're triggered. We're not asking you to suppress that. Just take that deep breath, calm down and go, do I really like this person or not? And if I like this person, why would I be unkind to them? That's in the presence of pain or no pain. It's really, really a critical step. And it's hard.
Yeah.
Because these are deep, powerful triggers. So, all right, Dr. Ari, today I'm going to let you have the last word.
Yeah, I think
you should usually take it anyway. So I give up. Surrender. You get the last word today.
No. I think that's great. I think the audience and us know this for a fact, that it is important to have this deep love for ourselves, to be able to have healthy boundaries and to be able to say what we mean and mean what we say. And the parting words that David and I have for you this morning is this. Is sometimes you might be saying as well, I know how to operate. It's my spouse, it's my partner. They need to listen to this message today. Well, when someone is not willing to work with you, as a partner, and it sounds like they're suffering. And right. One of the things you want to do then at that point, if they're not willing to get treatment or help, what you want to do is recognize that they're suffering and recognize that when they speak, they activate you, and learn the skills that David and I have talked about over and over again, and also get some help beyond our conversation here, because it will activate your feelings of betrayal, abandonment, and rejection, because the true foundation of love is basically this intimacy in relationships, that is, intimacy, passion, and commitment.
I have it next to the last word here.
Of course.
If you think about all the strategies that Les and I are presenting, it's all about creating a little bit of a space. So
Yeah.
remember, anytime you're anxious or angry, you've been triggered. So it gives you, is going to be stress, automatic survival reaction. That's what the body does. And so to actually change that, you have the stress, and then you got to create a little bit of space to the reaction. You got to create some space. Then you substitute a different reaction. So instead of being stress automatic survival response, is stress choice response. So it's the writing, relaxation, deep breathing, no reaction in a react, no action in a reaction. You're just creating space so you can make a more thoughtful choice. Because again, when you're anxious or frustrated, you're in the past, you're not in the present. So I cannot meet your needs if I'm not here, right?
Yeah. Yep. Yep. Yep.
So try to top that one. All right, we'll see you tomorrow.
Bye, everyone. Have a great morning. Have a great day.